20 years, meth riddled her body. Alcohol in and out, but it didn't stick. Cocaine, Mary Jane, other drugs, but it was meth that attacked her.
Restoring hope, open my heart to sing, taking the darkness inside, revealing your light, restoring hope, open my eyes to see the world through different eyes, revealing your light, restoring hope.
It's the 25th day of August in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is the Sunday edition of Restoring Hope Live. You can find us at our website at restoringhopelive.com. It's not a complicated site. It's a simple site. It's there to archive our previous shows so you can go back and listen to them. Welcome to the listening audience on the American Family Network and also on XM Sirius. We're glad to be with you on this beautiful Sunday across the land. My co-host, Pastor Dr. Bishop Mike Hartwig, is in the house. Mike, nice to have you here.
Great to be here.
A couple of new voices, Kelly, Bob Monster, the Cat in the Hat, and of course, Maddie and Eric are producing today. My special guest is Melissa Chaplin, and there's no reason for you to know that name unless you're a Facebook friend of mine. And this is the way God does bring some people into my life. I believe about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I don't know why we're friends on Facebook. We just are. But about 3 or 4 weeks ago, you posted something about, I think, an anniversary of your sobriety date or something cool about your sobriety, and I congratulated you. And then you and I started talking back and forth, and you started to share your story with me a little bit. And not only is Melissa's story really good, Christ-centered, just an amazing redemption, but Melissa's a good storyteller, so it's nice to have her here today. Her daughter, Danielle, is also with her, and we'll be talking to Danielle as the show goes on. Now, I said your last name wrong, didn't I?
That's okay. Champlin.
Oh, I did say
That's
it right.
Okay. Yeah.
Chaplin?
Right.
Chaplin?
No, Champ. Like I'm a boxing champ and you never will be. Champlin, okay?
In your mind. Yeah.
Melissa, when was the first time that meth touched your lungs?
When I was 17.
Okay, why did you try meth?
At the time, it sounded fun, new. I had not heard about meth. When I was a child, I heard about cocaine, the horror stories of heroin, and I remember having a dialogue in my head that I don't want to put that in my nose. I don't want to do that. Nobody warned me, for lack of a better term, about methamphetamine. And
was that your first drug too? Did you try marijuana and all?
When I was 12, I have experimented with marijuana. Didn't like the effects it produced, and alcohol. Didn't really like the effects of that either.
Okay. So you started to say nobody warned you.
Nobody warned me.
I don't want to name, but the first person that shared meth with you, what'd they say? Oh, you'll love this. This will be a great high.
I'll never forget the day. It was I was going to work at my job at a little burger joint in the mall, and a family friend stopped at a park and that introduced me to meth for the first time. And I snorted my first line when I was 17. All
right, so you originally snorted it.
Yes.
All right, and I'm sorry, I'm ignorant. What's the difference between meth and cocaine?
Yeah.
Methamphetamine is most definitely a stimulant. It's lasting. The effects last much longer. Cocaine is about a 30-minute high, and
meth can be half a day.
It could be days.
Days.
Days. I've lost days before.
Okay. I was doing a show on meth addiction years ago on the radio. And I made the comment that, I think I'm going to try it once because I want to be able to relate when people try it. And you don't see Melissa right now, but her head is shaking almost violently back and forth. And the phone calls just came pouring into the station from people who had used meth that said never. Never try it once, because if you try it once, you may never quit.
Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened to me. And I was in love. I was in love with it.
Okay.
What did it do to you?
It made me feel like I was invincible. That I could do anything, that I'm cooler than you, that I'm better than you. And my brain liked the effect. I was going 90 miles an hour, going any direction that the wind blew.
Now, in the beginning, Melissa, how often after that first line in that park, how often did you do it after that?
It was an integral part of my life. It was my life. All the time.
How much did it
Every
cost
day.
you?
Every day?
Yeah.
3 times a day?
Until I started to come down, and that was my only thought, was the getting and obtaining and whatever means necessary to get more. I'm very manipulative, and I know that. That's one of my character defects. And as a child, I learned how to capitalize on that. And I got in with the dealers. I got in with the boys, and I knew how to use my sexuality and my gift of gab, if you will, how to get you to like me so I can place you in my life so I can get what I need from you.
Yeah, for those of you that are listening on the radio and not watching, Melissa's a beautiful woman. You have incredible blue eyes and you have a great smile. So I can only imagine if you add the manipulation of the accuser in there, you are quite a power to deal with. Now, you ask a good question. How much? I mean, I know in the end it was probably more than in the beginning, but on an average, is this a $20 a day habit? Is it a $200 a day habit?
And it depended upon how good the meth was. If it wasn't very good and it wasn't doing what I needed it to do to get me to do what I felt that I needed to do, then I would just do more. And as soon as I attained that level of euphoria, then I was good. And then when the euphoria wore off, which could have been days, then...
So was that first hit free?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody just give it to you free.
Sure.
Yeah.
Samples are always free. Melissa Champlin is my guest, and of course, Pastor Dr. Bishop Mike Hartwig in the house as we talk about meth today and the dangers of meth. And believe me, this has a great ending. This is a wonderful story. I know it's starting out in the depths of darkness, but it has a great ending. Is it fair to say, now, there are 365 days in a year, and you used it for 20 years. Did you use it every day of those 20 years?
No.
Okay.
That's got a multifaceted question.
No, it's not. It's really a yes or no.
No.
Okay.
No, not every day. I
Okay.
had some sobriety in there.
And was that sobriety self-induced or legally produced or pregnancy produced or what?
Pregnancy produced, legally produced, just to get the heat off.
Okay.
I only got sober to get the heat off and to get people to like me again.
Okay. Were you a bad mofo when you were, on the drug?
Criminally, yes.
Criminally.
Physically, I'm not tough.
Okay. But criminally, you'd do anything.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Danielle, how old are you, Danielle? You can just yell it.
I'm 16.
All right, Danielle, her 16-year-old daughter, is going to join us on the program either in the next section or the third section of the program. So we look forward to hearing about being raised around a mother who, primarily is on meth all the time.
Let me ask you a question. Let's talk about the logistics of the drug.
Okay.
So I thought meth was something that you smoked.
Well, you can.
You can't smoke it, but you can also snort it like cocaine.
Right. You can also you can inject it too,
I was
right?
an IV drug user for the last
you
20
inject-
years.
Okay.
So what's the most potent?
Well, the injection.
IV drug use.
So and that goes immediately into your system. Has no comeback. And then where do you get? Is it manufactured in town? Do you buy it overseas?
It's manufactured in bathtubs in rural communities and in apartments. You've got rental property.
You bet.
How many rental properties you got?
Not enough.
Okay, I'll bet you in one of those rental properties at one time or another meth was made. Seriously.
Really?
It's very easy to make. It's very common to make. We'll talk to Melissa about that when we come back. This is RestoringHopeLive.com. Check us out. Our archives are there. All kinds of different topics, all kinds of different situations. But most importantly, it's your voice we want to hear. Phone lines are open at 1-855-244-0077. That's 1-855-244-0077. I'm J. Michael McCoy. If I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. Love this job. Couldn't do it without you. Right here on Restoring Hope Live, powered by WebcastOneLive.com.
Restoring hope.
Well, for me, it was alcohol. For you, it might be drugs. I'm J. Michael McCoy with Joe Mintz from St. Gregory Retreat Center. Joe, you say St. Gregory Retreat Centers are different. What's so unique about your approach?
Well, first of all, St. Gregory Center is more of an intensive training program than just an addiction recovery center. We help our clients set some very ambitious goals for their lives by focusing more on empowerment and leadership, physical health and healing, and a life of virtue. This goes far beyond mere sobriety, which frankly is why so many more of our clients achieve just that.
Can you give me some more examples of how, St. Gregory does this?
Absolutely. First of all, we believe you need to be well enough to recover. For this reason, every guest will spend at least a week with our medical team preparing physically for that recovery. This involves our proprietary IV neurorestoration therapy, as well as very specific nutritional regimens.
So once someone begins to heal physically, then what?
Well, now we begin the real work on teaching them how to reevaluate this process of events in their lives and to better understand why they think and feel the way that they do. Our program teaches how to change your thinking, how to modify your behavior to obtain better outcomes, and we really focus on teaching the life skills needed to truly find a life of purpose, joy, and fulfillment.
Wow. Okay. That I've heard enough. I need to get a hold of somebody. Tell the listeners how they can get a hold of St. Gregory Retreat Center.
You can reach out to us at 888-778-5833. We have counselors standing by at that number. Again, that's 888-778-5833. You can also do a Google search for St. Gregory Retreat Center and find us that way. Or you can go to your website at restoringhopelive.com and click on our logo.
Restoring Hope Live.
Let's not just say a gay couple comes and wants to get married and you're a wedding cake maker. What if a divorced person? What if a guy comes along and his wedding reception is going to be a drunk fest?
No matter the thing that a person has a propensity for, but whether we're born that way or not, we need to be born again.
What, as a Christian, am I supposed to do with that?
Love them.
What does that mean?
It means love them. I love the term love your enemy because when I finally figured out what that means, it means that if you can love like God loves the church, like Jesus loves his people, if you can love your enemy that way, think of how much your friends and your family and those people that you like will feel.
I don't think that God made that happen. I think that he took all of my bad habits, all of my bad choices, and turned them into his good.
Doing it my way and not submitting to his will. And then there are times when I have walked with him side by side exactly how he wants me to walk, and the identity I have is that he gives me.
Restoring Hope Live on Sirius XM Channel 131.
Hi, this is John Butter. A parent said to me, "My kid is on drugs. I need a support group. How do I find one?" Well, if you have a kid who's abusing drugs and you're willing to go to a support group, I congratulate you. Lots of parents are unwilling to go get help from other parents. When my wife and I were in the midst of accepting the truth that drugs had invaded our family, we were advised to go to a support group. And the drug counselor who gave us this advice said, "You may have to go to more than one group before you find the group to which you can relate. This can take a lot of work and effort, but we thank God that we found a group. We found a group of people where we could share, whose experiences were more advanced than ours, who told us that God was still alive, he was still working in our lives and our kids' lives, and frankly, we would not have survived without that group. It was a help."
Visit lighthousenetwork.org.
Restoring hope. Open my heart to sing. Taking the darkness inside. Revealing your light. Restoring hope.
All right, welcome back. 19 minutes after the hour on this 25th day of August in the Lord's year 2013. You're listening to Restoring Hope Live, and we thank you for listening. This is a genuine ministry which comes from our hearts to help people in their life with hurts, habits, and hang-ups. Sometimes it's the pain of divorce or the loss of a child. Sometimes it's drugs or alcohol. Sometimes it's depression and anxiety. But whatever it is, understand there's a way through it and a way out of it. And the simple way, I know there's hard ways. There's hard ways all over the place. And we all have to do things the hard way sometimes. We have to hit low bottoms. We have to disappoint our families. We have to lose our families. We have to lose our jobs. Sometimes we have to lose everything. But I will tell you the simple way is just to surrender to Jesus. Just surrender. Just say, Jesus, I can't do this anymore. I've been in charge of my own life, and I've been trying to do it, and I'm just not going to do it anymore. And I'm just going to give it all to you. I'm going to give it all to you. And I'm going to say the next right thing. And I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And I'm not going to criticize other people. And I'm not going to judge other people. I'm going to worry about me and the relationship that you and I have. And I'm going to start my day praying to you. And I'm going to end my day praying to you. And every minute in between, every moment, every breath, I will be thankful that you are in my life. And that's surrender. And you will find your way out of any hang-up, hardship, habit if you just turn to him. Now, obviously, it's harder for some people than that. It was harder for me. It was harder for Kelly. I'm sure Melissa would say it was harder for her on that. But after years and years and years of being in charge, large and in charge of her own life, was God even anywhere? I mean, or was God just a foul-mouthed word that you used?
God who?
Yeah, okay.
Well, let me ask you this. What drove you to try that? I mean, you just want to feel good or just...
No. I see now. I've shared my story one other time since I've been sober, and I felt different from the very beginning of my life. I felt different because I
You mean
didn't.
since you were a little child?
This is my addiction did not just happen one day. It was brewing and stirring and getting ready to prepare me from the time I was, excuse me, probably 3 or 4 years old when I realized I was different. And how I mean I was different is I didn't have a mom growing up. My grandparents and my dad raised me. And I remember growing up that I would see my childhood friends going home or on the phone saying, Mom, can I do this? Mom, can I do this? Just saying the word mom. And I felt that was my first resentment. That was my very first resentment that I had is that I had a caretaker to call and called grandma. And it went so far as for me, I lied to my friends and said that my grandmother was my mom. She just had me later in age.
Where is your mom?
I have no idea.
Since when?
I was about 1.5.
Really?
Yes.
She was put up. You were put up for adoption then?
No, my dad.
He just said that his
Yeah,
grandmother.
but no, did
She didn't show up to fight for me in court.
right?
And that's her choice. And for many years, I used that as a crutch and as I was a victim. I was a victim because my mom didn't want me.
Okay, makes sense. All right. Now, in the last 20 years, and the reason we say the last 20 years is Melissa's about to celebrate her first year sobriety. And for those of you that have been through recovery or know somebody, that's a big deal. It's not as big as 24 hours, and it's not as big as 30 days. But 1 year, it's a milestone. If you've stayed sober for 365 days, you're serious. You ain't kidding around. Now, perhaps you've been pushed into it by the law, but Melissa, wouldn't you say by the time you get to a year, the law isn't on your back usually anymore. It's usually something you choose to do on your own, and the consequence of the law doesn't matter.
You're right.
Yeah. Now, what brought you to sobriety?
This time,
Yeah.
a failed relationship and the removal of my son for the second time by DHS.
How many kids do you have? We know the lovely Danielle before us. How many others?
I have 4.
4. And have you raised any of them?
No.
No.
Danielle and my son for the first 4 years of his life until this last year.
And the Department of Human Services comes in and takes them from you.
They don't just come in and take, but yes, they removed because of my drug use.
Okay, now what do you mean by they don't just take?
I am not a proponent of DHS.
Okay.
I've developed close relationships with the Department of Human Services because they're doing their job and they protect kids. I wasn't doing my job as a mom, and so I have no hard feelings, no resentment. And if I wasn't using meth, then they would have left.
Okay, now for those of you listening or watching at home, I want you to understand what she just said. This is a sign of good sobriety. This is a sign that you've moved through the steps and you've gotten rid of the resentments. She is a proponent. She defends the people that took her children away. That's sobriety, okay? Just let you know, that's one of the genuine things we look for, and Melissa's being genuine. I got to ask you a tough question. Tell me what it feels like to sit in your living room and have somebody take your baby away from you and walk out.
There's no words to articulate that feeling. And that is something that I get to live with every day. And I celebrate that pain today. I know how to celebrate that pain. And a lot of moms out there who are going through this may not understand that. But it's because I turn my will over every day to God. And I have consequences of my actions. I've gotten too many get out of jail free cards, if you will. And I do have a relationship with my daughter today, and my son will be back. This is just how it's supposed to be.
Are you declaring your son will be back, or are you prophesizing?
If I continue to live my life the way that I'm living today and stay right here and today and worry about what's in front of me, then if it's in his will, if it's in God's will, my son will be back, and I want my son to find me in this shape.
And how old is your son?
He'll be 5 in January.
Okay, and what's his name?
Isaac.
Okay, where are the fathers of these children? How many fathers are they?
There are 4.
There are 4. Did you marry any of them?
1.
Okay. Where are these fathers? Are any of them involved in their children's life?
Danielle has an amazing dad.
Good. Are you the oldest, Danielle? Okay. So her father's involved.
Amazing.
But the other guys are absentee landlords.
Nope, my son's father got custody of my son, Isaac.
Okay.
Were they drug users too?
Yes.
And we want to be careful here. We don't want to interfere with any DHS stuff or any legal stuff. But you believe that. Why do you believe that you'll get your son Isaac back?
I don't believe I'll get my son Isaac back. I believe that he will want to know where his mom and his sister went.
Okay. What's the worst thing that happened to you in those 20 years? Besides losing your children? Besides. Were you raped?
No.
Did you commit horrific crime?
I've been to prison once.
Okay. And what'd you go to prison for?
Theft.
Theft.
To support my drug
I was
habit.
going to say, stealing to support your drug habit.
Absolutely.
Okay. There's a mother out there listening somewhere in this world with XM Sirius and the web. We know we reach millions of people. This mother is a drug user. It may not be meth. It may be something else. She's got a young child sitting on her lap, and her secrets are still safe within her. She hasn't been caught yet. It hasn't confronted her yet. What do you want to say to her?
What do I want to say to her?
Yeah. You got a chance to say something to her right now and maybe make a difference in her life.
Remember that feeling of holding your child, waking up with your child, putting your child to bed, getting upset with your child because they won't listen. Remember all of that, how they smell, how they say your name, because it will be gone. And you will not have that frustration as a mom, that happiness as a mom. You will not have that daily routine that you have with your baby if you continue to keep secrets and you continue to use. Because I'm living proof that I don't get to kiss my son goodnight. I don't get to kiss my babies goodnight or wake up with them because I thought I was one step ahead. I thought that I was smarter than everyone. I thought I knew what was best. And it's going to come around and it's going to bite you and it's going to get you and steal everything, take away everything that you love. Remember how your kids smell.
Remember how your kids smell. Remember that smell of your babies?
Not always good, but
you just married one off. I bet when you hugged her on her wedding day, you remembered what she smelled like when she was one.
Yeah, you bet.
When we come back, probably the coolest thing about this story is her 16-year-old daughter, Danielle, is here to share the bad stuff, what it was like being raised by a mother, being around a mother who was high on meth all the time. but also the great stuff, how God entered her family's life and rescued and redeemed and restored her mother. That's next, live.
Restoring hope.
I'm in almost every school bus and classroom. I go to school with your children. We say the Pledge of Allegiance together. You see me around the neighborhood and you tell me that I'm a pretty good kid. Well, I'm one out of every 5 children in America, and I'm struggling with hunger. This problem is closer than you think. My teacher tells me we can grow up to be whatever we want. I want to grow up to be someone who doesn't go to bed hungry. There's enough food in this country to feed everybody. Please visit feedingamerica.org today and find your local food bank for ways to help. Every dollar you donate helps provide 8 meals for kids like me, quietly struggling with hunger. Together, we are Feeding America, brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This moment of uncontrollable laughter was made possible by a 32-year-old man with little to no coordination attempting to execute a simple cartwheel. His name is Sergeant Warner, but young James, our laughing friend here, simply calls him Dad. The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
The Pocket Testament League presents Pocket Power. Read, carry, and share the gospel every day. If you've ever failed to share your faith because you just didn't know what words to use, then carry the word with you.
I include these pocket testaments in our visitor folders at church, or I give them out on home visitations, or I leave them in public places such as gas stations, malls, stores, rest areas.
Hello, this is Mike Brickley, president of the Pocket Testament League. Reading the Bible every day is so easy when you always have it with you. You won't even need a backpack. You can carry one right in your pocket. What are you waiting for?
I witness to people with tracts, but also leave them with the Word of God for them to read for themselves. I'm going to let my people at Fellowship know about the Pocket Power Ministry. Thank you for your work in God's kingdom.
What are you waiting for? Read, carry, and share the gospel every day. For more information, call 1-800-636-8785 or visit pocketpower.org. That's pocketpower.org.
Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. Every day I wake up at 5 to give Dad his medicine. At 6 I make his breakfast. At 7 I shower. Every day I wake up.
For those caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Here's Dan Celia with today's Stewardship Moment.
In Isaiah 55, God makes it clear that His word does not go forth and come back void or empty. He says this, "But I shall accomplish that which I purpose. I shall succeed in the things for which I sent it." Listen, I don't know about you, but I have never found a place in all of Scripture that when God spoke, nothing happened. Listen, whenever Jesus spoke, it came to pass. In my life, whether it was destruction, healing, or love, something happened when God spoke. When you read the Bible or pray, listen to what God has to say about His will for your life.
You've just heard a Stewardship Moment with Dan Celia of Financial Issues Ministry, helping you plan, give, and invest wisely. For more information, log on to financialissues.org. That's financialissues.org.
Restoring hope. Open my heart to sing. Taking the darkness inside. Revealing your light. Restoring hope.
26 minutes before the top on this live program of the 25th day of August in the Lord's year 2013. I'm J. Michael McCoy, and this is Restoring Hope Live. If you want to learn more about us, go to restoringhopelive.com. It's not a real fancy website. Chris does it, and he does a great job. We just want it to be simple. There's a way to contact us. There's our bio. There's Pastor Dr. Bishop Mike Hartwig's bio. There's Bob Montserrat's bio. There's my bio. And then there's all the old shows. I think we keep like 12 weeks in there. So you're welcome to go in at any time. We love your input. Love to have any input that you have. Phone lines are open. Eric's standing by on the phones at 1-855-244-0077 or simply email us, and we'd love to hear from you. All right, we've been talking to Melissa Champlin. I would imagine you're 40? 38. I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry.
Man.
I should have added 21. I know, 38. But, yeah, I know. And she spent the last year being sober and clean and understanding what God's identity is for her. But the 20 years previously was a wreck of a life. Alcohol, cocaine, marijuana, but mostly meth. A long-term addiction to meth. Felonies, prison time, losing 4 children. But she's back, and she's back with God. And she now knows who he is, or she is, has a relationship with her God and with Jesus Christ, and understands by coming on this program that she is sharing. And hopefully there's someone out there, maybe it's you, I don't know, but there's somebody out there that God wanted to hear what Melissa had to say, or maybe what Danielle has to say. I want to introduce you to Danielle Scar. This is Melissa's 16-year-old daughter, and you are the oldest. Now, hi, Danielle. How are you?
I'm good.
Now, at some point, were you also removed by DHS?
No, my dad and my stepmother got custody of me, right? Yeah.
Okay. And you got a great dad?
Yeah.
Okay. And your mom said that too, so that must be a pretty good thing about your being a good dad. And your stepmom's okay, I might imagine.
Yeah, she's cool.
You ever use drugs?
I'm a teenager.
Do you ever use drugs?
No.
Okay.
Marijuana.
Little bit?
Yeah.
Drank?
Little bit.
Doesn't like it?
It's not really that fun.
Okay. How much impact does your mother's alcohol/drug 20-year alcohol/drug career impact your decision not to use?
It's impacted me positively. She's a lesson for me not to make the mistakes she did, to show myself and my siblings that we can do it.
Okay, go ahead. It's all right. Mike, you're a counselor, a family counselor, a marriage counselor. How often do you run into kids whose lives have just been shattered by the silly, stupid, ignorant mistakes of their parents? And by the way, I put myself into that silly, stupid, ignorant parent. So
yeah, all the time. I mean, and we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago in one of our shows, is that there's sins of a generation. They get passed on from generation to generation.
And that's not a curse from God.
No, not necessarily.
That is what happens.
Yeah, just we pick up all kinds of styles and things like that. And one of those things is the bad habits that we pick up from our parents. And a lot of times that just morphs into getting worse and worse and worse. The nice thing about this, Danielle, is that you don't have to follow in your mom's footsteps, and neither do your siblings. And you know, I'm standing here, and you're standing here, Mac, as living examples of that. You can break the cycles, and it's through the power of Jesus Christ. That's the answer. I mean, when you build your life around,
and there really isn't. I'm sorry, there really isn't any other answer.
No, there really isn't.
I mean, there's therapy and therapy and therapy and therapy, but
when your life organizational principle, when you are all about drugs, it has a natural outcome that's not healthy. When on the other hand, when your life is all about Jesus Christ, our Creator, that's who we live for, that's what we're about, then that's when life starts coming together. And, you know, I feel for you guys. I mean, I really do. I've seen, but the good thing is there is real hope. There really is extreme hope in Jesus Christ. When you give that over to Him, you don't have to continue the cycle.
Yeah, how often have we sat here and heard Melissa's story,
right,
but there is no Danielle sitting next to her because Danielle is still removed or chooses to be removed.
And Danielle, I would say something too, and I would say this to your brothers and sisters. 2 brothers? No, 1 brother?
2 brothers and 1 sister.
2. This is what I would say to you. You guys are especially prone, even though your mom seems like she's getting her life together, and she's living for Christ, she's getting off it and all that, she's celebrating her 1 year. You really are prone to this. You're prone to the same thing that she's going to it. And if you can impact your brother your two brothers and your sister, and you can get to them and say, listen, we're prone to this. And if you don't come around and you start giving your life to Jesus Christ and you make that the organizing principle of your life, you're going to make the same mistakes that your mom went through. And you're just going to try to experiment. You look at your mom, you think, hey, no big deal. Mom did it. She lived. Well, why can't I? Yeah, you're going to go through the same path. And then if you get pregnant, it's generation after generation after generation. It's just going to continue down. And you feel the pain right now. Use that pain to really turn it around and say, I don't want anything to do with this. I'm going to learn from my mom's mistakes. We need to start doing that. That's when you bring life-giving change to generations after this.
Now, Kelly, I know you've shared, I think it was your oldest son, who's 16?
My oldest son is 18.
18. That he's really learned a lot from Dad's sobriety. And actually, it has greatly improved your relationship.
I would say so. I mean, I lump myself into that category that you talked about earlier of when I was, knee deep in drugs and alcoholism. Being a father was secondary. I would have told you that was a top priority of mine, but my actions did not speak to that. And I think one thing that maybe went missed in all that was when I got sober and when I came into this new life, then I learned how to be a father, and I learned what truly taking care of my kids was about. The hard part then is, as you mentioned being a teenager, as our teenagers grow, as a parent to sit back and sometimes watch them go down the same paths that we start to go down. Maybe not as bad. We want so bad to just pull them away, pull them back because we know. Yeah. And the thing I had to struggle with my 18-year-old was watching him make some foolish decisions and being able to almost take the mindset of, who am I to deny him his misery? I mean, I didn't listen to my parents.
Right.
And so that's...
Yeah, we kind of have this attitude that experience and that pain is the best teacher.
Right.
If they're not going to listen to me, I'm fine. Go ahead and beat yourself up. Maybe you'll listen
go
to
ahead.
that.
But
Kelly Lindbergh is in the studio today. He's a buddy of mine, also Pastor Dr. Bishop Mike Hartwig in the house as our co-host, and we're talking with Danielle Scar, which is Melissa Champlin's daughter. If you were listening earlier, Melissa had a 20-year career of drugs and alcohol and breaking the law and living for herself and manipulation and losing 3 children to DHS and one through a custody battle. And now the one that she lost through a custody battle sits by her side, stands by her mother, beside her, in front of her, in back of her. It doesn't matter where. She stands with her mother, supporting her. Now,
how'd you come to know Christ? How did God get a hold of your life? Yeah.
Just scoot over in front of the microphone, yeah.
I've heard about this guy. People were calling God and they were praying and, and just I heard a lot of talk about God. I wanted no part of it because it seemed religious, and I didn't really want to be in that category of theology, if you will, or religion. But coming,
why didn't you? Were all the Christians that you knew freaky? I grew up with my grandmother, going to church with my grandmother on Sundays. And what I saw in the church and out of the church, the unconditional love and the forgiveness, I didn't see that a whole lot. And that was another resentment that I had, is our parents are supposed to be love unconditionally. And my experience was not so much that. So your mom and dad went to church too? And
no. She didn't have mom.
No, I mean your dad.
My grandmother.
Your grandmother. Mm-hmm. You didn't want to become like your grandmother? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't.
So you didn't want anything to do with her church or anything?
No. But I have respect for my grandmother because she raised me. She took me in her home and she loved me the way that the best way she could, and she kept me away from certain things, but no, there's a cycle that I'm glad is broke.
Right
there.
So how did God get a hold of your life?
I went to treatment.
You went to treatment.
I went to Mount Pleasant treatment. And last year.
Okay, and so they came. They talk religion to you.
No,
they say?
No. I've known who God was. I just refused to surrender. It's about surrender. And I finally, the pain got great enough. I'm sick of losing kids. I'm sick of having, I'm sick of having a number after my name, a state number, being an inmate of, be a jail or prison, and I'm sick of racking up felonies. So I surrendered. And when I surrendered, and that to me was my spiritual experience when I went to treatment. I now know how to turn everything over. I learned how to do that. And I can't explain to you how it's done, why it's done. I just know that I finally let God do what I couldn't do for myself.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, let's. I want to ask you a tough question, Danielle. She exhales.
Yeah.
Describe for me the worst moment you ever saw with your mother.
Probably the men that she chose to be with. Not only did she abuse herself, she allowed the men to abuse her. And that was the hardest part for me.
Because you knew she was better than that. Now, you can't see him, and we're not going to show him, but your boyfriend's here today. I bet that makes a big difference in the kind of guy you call boyfriend, don't you?
Yeah.
I mean, because you would never allow someone to treat you the way you saw men treat your mother.
No.
Now, she's been sober almost a year now. Tell me some of the wonderful things that you get back in your relationship because mom's not high.
Like she said, growing up without that figure to call mom, being able to do that now, it's really cool.
Just being able to say mom.
Yeah, and call her when I need her.
What was that like before? I mean, when you needed her, you couldn't call her?
No, I didn't know where she was. I would go to my stepmom if I needed mother advice.
Okay, all right. So what does having your mother in your life now, how does it add to it? I mean, yeah, you get to do what you just said is I get to do what every other kid does. I get to call her mom. When I need her, I can call her. But there's something special about your mom. We've all seen it here in the last 45 minutes. What do you get from her that's just incredibly special?
She's strong.
Okay. She was strong before, though. Right?
Yes.
What kind of strong now, though? It's a different strong.
She's not on drugs anymore. She's not letting herself or the men or the people she was surrounding herself with take her down and run her life.
So in a way, she's become free.
Yeah, free.
Free of all those men, free of the drugs.
She's brand new, it feels like.
Okay. Now, Mom, shut your ears. You can't, not really. What are you looking forward to? If you could write something down on a piece of paper that you hope Mom does in a day or a week or a year, what would that be?
It's kind of hard.
I mean, what are you looking forward to doing with your mom that maybe you've never done or you haven't done very often? What experience?
Well, I know that she's excited for my graduation.
From high school?
Yeah.
But you're not.
I am too, but growing up, I didn't think she was going to be there for that type of stuff. I'm really excited to have her there as a support.
Are you a senior this year?
I'm a junior, but I go to an alternative school, Scavo High School, and I'm going to graduate a year early, I think.
Wow, congratulations.
Good for you.
Thank you.
What do you envision for yourself in the future? Do you see yourself as a stay-at-home mom? Do you see yourself as a nurse? Do you see yourself as a Burger King executive fry master?
Yes. No. I'm an artist.
Okay.
Say the least. I would like to be a tattoo artist. I want to go to college.
Okay.
And my mom's going to be there to support me.
Okay.
And cry when I move.
But you'd like to see, you'd like to create art, and one of the places you'd like to see it is on the human body.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't have any yet because you're not old enough.
I have one.
One little one. Oh, shh. Okay. We won't tell anybody. All right. One more question for you. What would you like your other siblings to realize about your mom? If they're listening, or
That she loves us a lot, and
Do you feel like she didn't love you before?
no, because I had a stepmom, like I said, and no matter what my mom put me through the weekend I spent with her, she was my mom. Like, I loved her. She was my favorite.
So how do you know your mom loves you?
'Cause she does.
Yeah, but how do you know?
Oh, here comes the doctor.
Yeah, right.
Pastor,
All right.
How do you know?
bishop out of it.
How do you know?
Okay.
How do you know?
My mom loves me because she criticizes me sometimes. She hugs me like she does when I was little. I know my mom loves me. And I don't know how to explain it.
And there was a day you didn't feel that, right?
When she would hurt herself, that's all I can. To let me see her in pain is the only thing.
Is it fair to say that when she's caught up in the drugs and stuff like that, she's really acting selfishly?
Yeah.
And she's the most unloving person. She doesn't communicate that she loves you very much when she's caught up in all that. I mean, do you pick that up? And I mean, also think about the people that are listening to the show. I mean, they're caught up in it. They're really acting selfishly. And they're saying that to themselves, well, no, I love my daughter. She knows I love my daughter. Well, no, they don't. If you continue to use these drugs and alcohol, and that's the most unloving thing that you could do. So
Behind all the drugs, your mom, your parent is still there. They just need to get over it.
Okay. We got 8 minutes left before the end of the program, and I'm going to ask Danielle and Melissa to change places so Melissa can get directly in front of the microphone so we can wrap this up. I appreciate you spending the time with us today listening. I don't know where you are. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if you're listening to this live or on a podcast, but I'm not, this is going to sound arrogant, and I don't mean for it to be arrogant, but I'm not going to apologize how raw this show was. This is real life. This is where Christ sits, okay? There's no facade. There's no fakeness here. There's no dramatics. These tears that are being shed are genuine tears. They were here before the show started, and my guess is they'll run long after this show has ended. For those of you who are mothers and fathers who have never and probably never will participate in a lifestyle like Melissa did so long ago for so long, you're not immune to it. It's your sister. It's your brother. It's the neighbor across the street. It's the guy at work. It's that old high school friends that went a different way than you did. Yeah. Take what you learn from a show like this and just meditate on it. Just spend some time with the Lord on it, because you heard this today for a reason. God is preparing you to come alongside someone in one of their most difficult seasons yet to come. It may be your child 15 years from now, or it may be your grandchild 15 minutes from now. But either way, I am so thankful that you have witnessed this incredible restoration that Christ the Lord has given to not only Melissa, but her family. Melissa Chaplin, you are a brave, wonderful daughter of your Father God, and you are a princess, okay? And when you sit in meetings, and we do what we do in those meetings, we say, hi, my name's Mac, and I'm an alcoholic. No?
Go ahead.
Well, I do that because that's the rules of the club. But inside I say, hi, I'm Mac, and I am a forgiven son of the Master High God, whom I call Jesus Christ. By the way, I'm also an alcoholic, or I'm addicted to alcohol. Always remember your identity. Your identity is that of a princess. Did you ever want to be a princess?
Yeah, I am one.
You are one. That's right. Danielle, you're a princess. You understand that? God has created you. You know, Jeremiah says, I knew you in the womb long before you were ever created. And he created you with spiritual gifts. It sounds like your gifts is creation, creativity, art, expression. Make sure you allow God to come out of that also, okay? Make sure you take the light that he brings into your life through your mother and through your significant other and the other family members. Make sure you document that, because really that's what he wants you to do. You're probably going to draw frogs and you're going to draw, you know, other things. I don't know why I picked frogs. But also make the green. Also make sure that you also let God shine through you and let that be seen, because that's the spiritual gift he gave you. Melissa, what's next for you? You're 38 years old. I know one of the things is you're going to get, hopefully you're going to get an opportunity to raise your son, Isaac.
When God sees that it's time.
Okay. What else?
I'm going to complete LeJames. I am going after my cosmetology license in about 8 months.
Okay.
I am already a licensed esthetician, and I'm proud of that. That is something that I completed.
What'd you say?
Esthetician. I'm a skincare professional.
Ooh.
Yeah. Get rid of
sweet
hair, stuff, like mustaches.
Yeah, like
things like that.
Like my unibrow. You can get rid of that for me?
Yes.
Okay.
I am that person.
Ooh.
When a brand new person when a brand new customer is sitting in your chair for the first time, what are you going to tell them about you? What is every single person that you encounter? Because you have to remember, God brings every one of those people alongside you, and He doesn't send you a memo at the beginning of the day. By the way, this third appointment at 10:15, I'm sending that girl your way. How will you witness to those people? What will those people say about you and your walk with God?
I cannot tell you how many times I've told the girls I go to school with, my roommate, my Facebook friends. I have them on my Facebook. If you look in my Facebook, every client that I have is put there for a reason. From the little girl who she's never had her hair curled with a curling iron, and I got to make her feel pretty and beautiful. And she says she doesn't want to leave me. She wants to hang out with me at school instead of go to a baseball game with her classmates, or it be a lady going through hard times in her life. But there are so many people. Everybody is put in my path for a reason. Everybody, and they're either a lesson for me to learn from or for them to learn from me.
And remember, you're not perfect.
Absolutely not. I'm fallible. I'm human.
It's progress, not perfection.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because God will bring somebody alongside you, somebody will come alongside you that imitates God, kind of like the snake did, the serpent in front of Eve, and he'll drag you down from time to time. But that isn't God.
No.
God would
in
never
my
trick
world
you.
today, that's gossip, and people who just they look at the glass half empty, if you will. I'm a glass full kind of half full kind of girl.
All right. Well, when you get to 1 year, which is when?
October 19th.
Okay, I want to hear about it. I want to hear from you on that day that you've celebrated 1 year, and maybe I'll come when you get your recognition.
Absolutely.
Danielle, God loves you. Thanks for being here. All you guys that came in support, thank you very much for being here. Bob Montserrat, the Cat in the Hat, who's a forensic scientist on the side. Thanks for being here and watching the chat. Kelly, appreciate you being here. And last thoughts, Pastor?
Thanks for sharing your story. Make sure you focus on Jesus Christ. That's going to be, if he fades out in the background, it's going to make everything go back the way it was.
And until we
Concentrate on
meet
Jesus
again,
Christ.
do me just one favor. Just one. Just pray.
Absolutely.